No one expected anything unusual that morning. The sun rose quietly over the small town, golden light spilling across empty streets, the air smelling faintly of wet grass from the night before. Birds sang their usual songs and children played without care. Life was normal, or so it seemed, until the sky broke. A streak of silver shot across the horizon, moving faster than any plane or meteor he had ever seen. People stopped and pointed, their mouths opening in disbelief. He felt his heart tighten as the object grew closer, humming with a strange, almost musical sound. The object descended into the open field on the outskirts of town, and the ground trembled slightly beneath its weight. Panic spread like wildfire. Cars screeched to a halt, people screamed, and someone called the authorities, their voice shaking as they gave a description no one would forget. He didn't move. He couldn't. Something deep inside him, fear, yes, but something else too, kept him rooted to the spot. He felt drawn toward it like a magnet pulling at his chest, like he had been waiting for this moment without knowing why. Then the hatch opened. The figure that stepped out was unlike anything he had ever seen. She was tall, elegant, with skin that shimmered faintly under the sunlight, almost as if the light itself loved her. Her eyes glowed a soft blue, calm but powerful, filled with knowledge that humans could never hope to understand. Her movements were smooth and deliberate, flowing like water over rocks. Despite the alien shape of her face and the subtle shimmer of her form, there was a warmth in her expression that felt familiar, comforting, and yet heartbreaking all at once. The crowd panicked, some running, some frozen in shock, but he didn't move. He couldn't look away. It was as if the world around him had paused, leaving only him and her in a strange, perfect silence. "You were waiting," she said, her voice soft, almost like the whisper of wind through leaves. It didn't echo. It wasn't loud. But somehow it reached him fully, every word resonating in his chest like a chord of music he had always known but never heard clearly. He shook his head, confused. Waiting? Waiting for what? His voice sounded small, fragile, but the words trembled with curiosity and fear. She smiled, a tiny curve of her lips, and it made something ache deep inside him. The air around her seemed to hum with energy, like electricity flowing through invisible wires. He felt it brush against him, a gentle pressure on his mind and heart. The world felt different in her presence, colors sharper, sounds clearer, even the air tasted different, like it held secrets meant only for those who could hear. "You'll understand," she said, tilting her head slightly. Her glowing eyes studied him as if weighing his soul. Soon. He wanted to run, to hide, to escape the intensity of her gaze, but every instinct told him to stay. Something inside him screamed that this moment mattered more than anything else in his life, more than family, more than friends, more than anything he had ever known. The soldiers arrived then, rushing onto the field with guns and uniforms and commands shouted into radios. Chaos erupted around him. People shouted, screamed, pushed each other. He felt her presence next to him, calm in the storm, and he realized something terrifying. She wasn't afraid. She didn't run. She didn't panic. "You are ready," she whispered, leaning in closer than necessary. Her voice brushed against his ear, sending shivers down his spine. "You don't understand yet, but you will. Soon." He swallowed hard. His heart pounded like a drum. Something deep inside him shifted. A fear, yes, but also a strange thrill. A feeling of purpose he had never known. He wanted to speak, to ask questions, to demand answers, but the words caught in his throat. The world erupted around them, but for a brief, eternal moment, it felt as if he and she were the only two beings alive. And in that moment, he knew his life had changed forever, even if he did not yet understand how or why. The days after her arrival felt unreal. The town remained tense, the military surrounding the field with a watchful eye, but he found ways to meet her in secret. Sometimes in the woods, where the trees whispered and the wind carried no one's voice but theirs. Sometimes by the river, where the water laughed over rocks and the world seemed to pause for just a moment. She taught him to see things he had never noticed. How the wind could carry a story if one learned to listen. How the ground beneath their feet pulsed with life, even in places humans thought were dead. How every living thing had a rhythm, a heartbeat, and a song if one could only hear it. At first it overwhelmed him. He had been blind to life's smallest miracles, focused on mundane routines and shallow worries. But her presence made him see differently, feel differently, understand differently. He laughed more than he had in years. Simple laughter, light and unburdened, that echoed in the woods as if nature itself joined in. And yet, in the quiet moments, he noticed a shadow in her eyes, a fleeting sadness, a weight she never spoke of. It made him want to ask, to understand, but fear held him back. He worried that asking too much might shatter the fragile trust forming between them. "You're learning fast," she said one evening, sitting on a fallen log by the riverbank. Moonlight shimmered across her skin, making it glow softly, almost like silver. She reached out, brushing a strand of hair from his forehead. "Soon you'll understand why you were chosen. Not everyone could do what you will have to do." His heart thudded painfully in his chest. Chosen for what? He didn't know, but her words carried weight, a gravity that pressed down on him and made him feel both important and terrified at the same time. "I don't understand," he whispered. He wanted clarity, wanted her to explain, but the words sounded weak against the night. "You will," she said simply, eyes fixed on his. "Time will show. Patience is part of the journey." Even as she spoke, he felt a strange power stirring within him. Tiny flashes at first, a tingling in his fingers, a warmth spreading through his chest, a sharp awareness of the world around him. He could feel the pulse of the river, the heartbeat of the trees, the faint tremors of animals hidden in the forest. It scared him and thrilled him all at once. They spent hours like this, talking and walking, exploring the world with a new sense of wonder. She never told him how to use the power fully, only gave small hints. Her patience frustrated him at times. He wanted answers, wanted to feel ready for whatever was coming, but he also trusted her in a way he had never trusted anyone. One night, as they lay on a hill watching the stars, she turned to him, her glowing eyes reflecting the cosmos. "You are ready now," she said softly. He froze, his heart hammering. "Ready?" His voice cracked. "Yes," she said, leaning closer. "But you do not understand yet. That is why it will seem too much too soon. But I know you can handle it." He swallowed, a mix of fear and excitement twisting inside him. The stars above seemed to flicker in agreement, the wind whispering secrets he could almost understand. Something inside him shifted again, stronger this time, as if he had crossed an invisible threshold without even knowing it. For the first time in his life, he felt chosen, not by luck, not by chance, but by something greater than himself. And he realized that whatever lay ahead, he would not face it alone. Even in the quiet, dangerous world beyond the woods, he knew she was teaching him to be more than human. To see more than humans could see, to feel more than humans could feel. And somewhere deep in his chest, he sensed the truth. His life was about to change forever, and the connection they shared would be the spark that shaped it. Weeks passed, and the world seemed to shift around him. He felt it in ways he couldn't fully explain. Like the air held more than oxygen, like the earth beneath his feet had a pulse, like life itself whispered secrets meant only for those who were ready to hear. The small powers she had hinted at were growing stronger. He could sense the emotions of animals in the forest, notice subtle changes in the wind, even feel vibrations of distant footsteps. Each morning, he woke with a strange energy thrumming in his chest. It was exciting and frightening at the same time. Some days he felt he could move mountains, and yet he trembled at the thought of doing so. He tried to hide the changes from everyone else. People would have called him crazy. He could barely understand them himself, she noticed. "You're changing faster than I expected," she said one evening, sitting across from him by the river where the water reflected the glow of the setting sun. "Do you feel it?" I don't know," he whispered, fear and wonder battling in his chest. "It's like something is inside me. Something I can't control." Her gaze softened, filled with both pride and sorrow. "That is part of the journey. You are ready now, but ready does not mean safe. You must learn, and soon you will face the world in ways humans never could." He nodded, though he didn't fully understand. The words settled in his mind, heavy with meaning and yet elusive. He wanted to ask more, to know exactly what awaited him, but her presence alone filled him with both courage and doubt. The tension grew outside their secret world. The military had noticed the changes in him. The report spoke of strange phenomena near the field, the wind bending unnaturally, animals behaving oddly, the earth trembling in subtle ways. Some claimed to see flashes of light. He feared they were closing in. One night she took him to the hill where they had watched the stars. You feel it now, don't you? She asked, her hand brushing his. He shivered. Yes, he admitted. I don't know what it is, but it's inside me. It's like it wants to do something. She nodded, her glow reflecting the moonlight. That is your gift. Your human spirit combined with what I have shared with you. Soon it will be tested. The world will demand it, he swallowed, heart hammering. Tested? How? Why? She leaned closer, her voice barely above a whisper. I can't explain everything, not yet. You must learn by feeling, by trusting yourself. There will be no time for doubt when it comes. You are ready, but you will only understand when it is too late to go back. Her words chilled him, though he didn't know why. The excitement inside him battled with a gnawing fear. He wanted to ask her to stay, to explain, to not leave him in this unknown storm. But she smiled, gently brushing his cheek, and he felt a warmth that reassured him even as terror gnawed at his mind. The nights grew restless. He practiced in secret, learning to sense energy in small objects, controlling minor tremors in the earth, predicting movements of small animals. Each success made him feel closer to understanding, but each failure left him exhausted, frustrated, and fearful of the unknown. And all the while, she watched him, patient and calm, guiding him without forcing him. Her faith in him was a light in the darkness, a beacon he clung to even when the world outside seemed threatening. You are ready, she said one evening, leaning closer than before. Her glowing eyes met his, and he felt an unspoken warning and promise all at once. But readiness is not understanding. You will see soon, and it may frighten you. It may hurt, but you must trust what you have learned, and yourself. He nodded, feeling the energy inside him stir like a storm gathering on the horizon. He didn't know what was coming, but he knew in the depths of his soul that life as he knew it was over. The real journey, the one she had been preparing him for, was about to begin. The night air was thick with tension. The town had grown restless, whispers of strange happenings spreading like wildfire. People spoke of lights in the forest, of animals behaving strangely, and of a human who seemed different. He could feel it too. Their fear, their curiosity, their suspicion, all pressing against him like an invisible wall. He and she met in the clearing by the river, the place that had become their sanctuary. Her glow was softer than usual, but there was an intensity in her eyes that made him shiver. They are coming, she said, voice calm but edged with urgency. They will try to take me. They will try to control what they do not understand. You must be ready. He nodded, though his heart pounded like a drum in his chest. Ready, but ready for what? He had trained, learned, grown, but the thought of facing soldiers with weapons, of defending her, of unleashing the powers stirring inside him, terrified him. The sound came first, a low rumble in the distance. Almost like thunder, but closer, sharper. Military vehicles rolled across the field, lights cutting through the darkness. Men shouted commands, rifles raised, moving in a line that felt unstoppable. Fear shot through him. You must trust yourself, she whispered, placing her hands over his. Her warmth surged through him, grounding him, filling him with courage he didn't know he possessed. Now, no hesitation. Time seemed to slow. The soldiers advanced, unaware that the world around them had already shifted. He lifted his hands instinctively, feeling the energy inside him respond. A tremor ran through the ground, knocking some men off balance. A gust of wind swept through, pushing them back. Small rocks leapt from the earth as if obeying him. His fear and exhilaration collided. He had never felt power like this before, not human, not fully, but it was his. He could control it, or at least he tried. The energy surged, responding to his emotions, wild and raw, filling the clearing with an otherworldly light. Use it, she urged, her glowing eyes fixed on him. Defend yourself, defend me. You are stronger than you think. He took a deep breath, and the world responded. A wave of force emanated from him, throwing soldiers back, knocking vehicles off balance. Sparks of energy crackled in the air. The fear he had felt moments before transformed into a sharp clarity. This was not just survival, it was purpose. But he realized, even as the chaos unfolded, that power without control was dangerous. The soldiers weren't the only ones at risk. Trees snapped, rocks flew, the earth quivered. He felt the surge of energy trying to escape his grasp, threatening to harm even the one person he wanted to protect most. She stepped closer, calm and unwavering, guiding him without touching him. Focus, breathe, let your heart lead. He did, and slowly, the storm within him began to settle. The energy bent to his will, controlled and precise, creating barriers to protect her, sending only enough force to push the intruders back without harm. The soldiers fell silent, stunned, retreating in disbelief at what they had just witnessed. When the dust settled, he sank to his knees, exhausted. His hands trembled, his chest heaving, yet his eyes found hers, glowing softly in the dim light. Relief, pride, and a profound fear mingled inside him. He had survived, had defended her, but he now understood the weight of what she had been preparing him for. "You did it," she said, kneeling beside him. "You were ready, but this is only the beginning. There will be more tests, more challenges, and one day you will understand why I chose you." He looked at her, gratitude and fear in equal measure. He had glimpsed the power within himself, and for the first time he truly believed that he could rise to whatever challenge lay ahead. But the memory of the chaos, of the raw force he barely controlled, left him trembling. She smiled, brushing his hair back. "You will learn. You will grow. And when the time comes, you will not just survive, you will protect everything that matters." He nodded silently, understanding that his life had changed forever. The quiet world he had known was gone, replaced by a dangerous, beautiful, and unpredictable reality, one in which he had a role no human had ever played before. The morning after the attack, the town was silent. The soldiers had retreated, but whispers lingered like shadows. People spoke of him as if he were no longer fully human, of her as if she were a creature of legend. He wandered through the empty streets, hands trembling, heart heavy. The power inside him no longer felt like a gift. It felt like a responsibility too great to bear. She found him by the river, where the water flowed quietly, ignoring the chaos of the world. Her eyes glowed softly, but there was a sadness in them he had never seen before. She reached for his hand, and the warmth that surged through him reminded him why he had endured, why he had learned, why he had survived. "You did well," she said, voice gentle but firm. "But this is only the beginning. There is something I must do, something you cannot yet understand." He frowned, confusion twisting inside him. "What do you mean? We face this together. You taught me, guided me. Why would you leave?" Her smile was small, almost sorrowful. "I cannot stay. My purpose here is not to live among humans forever. I came to prepare you, to awaken your potential. But now you must carry what we both fought for." The words hit him like a blow. His chest tightened, and for a moment he felt the weight of the world crush him. "No, I won't let you go," he whispered, gripping her hands. "You've been with me through everything. I can't do this without you." She cupped his face, her touch gentle yet firm. "You must. You are ready, even if you do not feel ready. The gift I leave in you is more than power. It is hope, guidance, and life. You carry it now, and through you the world will survive." Tears welled in his eyes. He had trained, he had fought, he had learned to wield strength beyond human limits, but nothing had prepared him for this. Nothing had prepared him for the possibility of losing her. "I don't understand," he said, voice breaking. "Why me? Why give this to a human?" She smiled through her own tears. "Because you can love, you can feel, you can hope. That is why humans endure. That is why humanity survives. Your strength comes not from your power, it comes from your heart." He pressed his forehead to hers, trying to hold on to her, trying to memorize her warmth, her glow, the way she made the world feel alive. "I'll do it. I promise. I'll protect them. I'll honor you. But I wish you didn't have to leave." Her eyes softened. "I know, but this is the way it must be. Life is a gift even when it requires sacrifice. You will understand someday. Perhaps not now, but soon." Then she activated the small device she had carried since her arrival. Light poured from it, blinding and warm, wrapping around him like a cocoon. He felt her essence, her knowledge, her wisdom flowing into him. The connection was overwhelming, painful and beautiful, terrifying and exhilarating all at once. He gasped, feeling as if every corner of his mind and soul was being stretched, reshaped, awakened. When the light dimmed, she was gone. The river flowed as before. The wind whispered softly through the trees, but she was no longer there. He fell to his knees, exhausted, trembling, and filled with a grief so deep it threatened to drown him. And yet, beneath the sorrow, he felt something new, a pulse of energy, a clarity, a strength he had never known. He was not alone, not entirely. She was a part of him now, in every thought, every heartbeat, every breath. He whispered into the quiet morning, voice raw and trembling, "I will not fail you. I will not fail them. I understand. I understand now." For the first time, he truly felt the weight of being human, and more than human. and though she was gone, her presence would guide him forever. Days blurred into nights, and the world around him seemed quieter now that she was gone. The town had begun to recover, but he felt the absence of her presence like a constant ache in his chest. Every shadow, every whisper of the wind reminded him of her, of what she had given him, and of the responsibility that now rested on his shoulders. He could feel the energy inside him pulsing, more alive than ever. At first it had been frightening, wild and unpredictable, but now he began to sense its rhythm, the way it moved with his heartbeat, his thoughts, his intentions. It was as if her essence, her guidance lingered inside him, teaching him in ways words never could. He spent hours practicing by the river, learning to control the currents of power. He could lift objects without touching them, guide animals without speaking, and even sense the emotions of the people around him. Each small success brought exhilaration. Each mistake brought humility. He was learning what it meant to be more than human, but human enough to care, to feel, to hope. The first time he healed a child's scraped knee without touching it, he felt a tear slide down his cheek. The child smiled at him, unaware of the power he wielded, unaware of the training, unaware of the sacrifice that had brought him to this moment. And yet he realized that true strength was not in showing power, it was in using it to protect, to heal, to lift others up. He wandered through the woods one evening, the golden light of sunset illuminating the trees. The wind whispered secrets through the leaves, secrets he now understood more fully. He felt her presence everywhere, in the rustling branches, in the river's song, in the heartbeat of the earth itself. He whispered her name, a quiet prayer, and felt a warmth fill him, comforting and empowering all at once. "You believed in me," he murmured aloud, voice catching in his throat. "Even when I didn't believe in myself. I won't let you down." And then the test came. A fire broke out at the edge of town, fed by the dry wind and the heat of the sun. People screamed, running toward the chaos as homes burned and smoke filled the sky. He ran, heart pounding, sensing the panic, the fear, and the desperation of those trapped in the flames. At first, he tried to fight it like a human would, pulling people out by hand, guiding them to safety. But the power inside him surged, demanding more. He spread his hands, focusing, and felt the fire obey him. Flames bent away from the terrified villagers. Smoke swirled harmlessly above their heads, and the heat seemed to soften at his will. He moved through the chaos like a force of nature, yet gentle, protecting everyone with a careful touch. When the fire finally died down, the town stood in stunned silence. People stared at him with a mix of fear, awe, and gratitude. Some whispered, some knelt, some cried. He looked up at the sky, feeling the weight of her guidance within him, the gift she had left, the purpose she had trusted him to fulfill. For the first time, he understood fully what she had meant when she said he was ready. Not just ready to fight, not just ready to survive, but ready to carry hope, to guide, to protect, to inspire. He was no longer just a human. He was a guardian, a bridge between what humans could be and what they were capable of becoming. He knelt by the river that night, the water reflecting the stars above. He closed his eyes, letting the wind brush against his face. "I will carry it," he whispered. "I will protect them. I will honor you." The night felt alive, filled with a quiet promise, and somewhere deep in the forest, or perhaps in the wind itself, he could swear he felt her smile, soft and proud, watching him. Years passed, but he never forgot. The town grew, children played in the fields where they had once hidden from fear, and life moved forward as it always did. Yet he remained, quiet and vigilant, carrying the weight of what she had entrusted to him. The power she had left inside him had become part of him, and so had her presence, soft, guiding, and eternal. He had changed, not just in strength but in understanding. He no longer feared the responsibility within him, for he had learned that strength meant more than force. It meant compassion, patience, and love. He helped people in ways they could not understand, small miracles hidden in everyday life. A sick child healed quietly, a lost animal returned home, a dangerous situation avoided before anyone noticed. He did not seek glory. He only acted because it was right. And yet sometimes in the quiet of the night he felt the ache of her absence. He would wander to the hill where they had watched the stars together, staring at the sky, hoping for a sign, a whisper, a presence. The wind would brush against his face, gentle and familiar, and he would smile through the sting of tears. "You were ready," he whispered, voice trembling. And in that moment he could almost hear her reply, carried on the breeze, soft, proud, and full of trust. The people of the town began to notice subtle changes in the world. Crops thrived where they had struggled. Storms seemed less destructive, and animals moved with a strange harmony alongside humans. Some spoke in hushed tones about a mysterious force guiding them, unseen yet protective. They did not know him, did not see him as he truly was, but they felt the results of his presence. He did not care about recognition. The gift she had given him was not for fame or power, it was for hope. And he embraced that responsibility, quietly and faithfully. One evening, as the sun set, painting the sky in colors more vivid than he had ever seen, he stood alone by the river where it had all begun. He closed his eyes, letting the memories wash over him, her smile, her glow, her gentle words, her unwavering belief in him. He felt the energy within him hum in response, alive and steady, guiding him, reminding him of the promise he had made. "I will not fail," he whispered. "I will protect them. I will honor you, always." And he did. Years turned into decades. Children grew into adults, and adults into elders. Generations came and went, unaware of the quiet guardian who watched over them. The town thrived in ways that seemed miraculous, as if touched by something beyond human understanding. And through it all he remained, human, yet more, carrying her essence, her wisdom, her hope. Sometimes, when the wind stirred just right, he could feel her presence brushing past him, warm and comforting. And sometimes, just for a heartbeat, he thought he saw her eyes glowing faintly in the corner of his vision, smiling, approving, proud. He realized then what she had truly given him. Not just power, not just knowledge, but trust. Trust in humanity, trust in him, trust that even in the darkest moments, humans could rise to the occasion, could protect, could care, could be extraordinary. He knelt by the river one last time as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting the world in gold. The water reflected not only the sky but the man he had become, strong, compassionate, ready for anything, and carrying a legacy greater than himself. "You were right," he whispered, tears slipping down his cheeks. "I was ready. And now I understand, because of you, we can be more than we ever imagined." The wind rustled through the trees, carrying a faint, familiar whisper. She was gone, yet not gone. And the world, protected and nurtured by the spirit she had entrusted to him, moved forward, brighter, stronger, and full of hope. And he smiled, knowing that humanity, fragile, flawed, yet endlessly resilient, would endure, because he had been ready.